From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you tonight. No place I would rather be. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. On Instagram, you can follow us at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. During the first week of every month, ET Contactee R Keith Andrews comes in to discuss the purposes of aliens coming to Earth. And getting a lot of feedback here. Oh, there we go. There we go. And having contact with us. We call this section the ET Connection, as Keith is not only a contactee, he is also highly intuitive. Keith's gifts have given him given him the power to help others for the last 30 plus years. He proclaims he has been in touch with more than 25 different extraterrestrial species since childhood. He's a near-death experiencer as well. We are also joined tonight by Nicole Sakic, as she wanted to see what the woo was all about. So, there's no better way to bring in the woo than with R. Keith. Then in the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Nicole Sakic, how you doing?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing well. Ready to bring the woo with Keith.
Me
and
too.
You.
I don't know if Keith is back yet or not. I don't know. Oh, you are. That was quick. That was quick. So for people who don't know, Keith is a psychic, and he takes calls up until about 10 o'clock Pacific. And considering that he's a little busy at times, there are times where he may have to duck out and take that phone call. But that's why we have Nicole here to cover those areas. So that's why we're all here, and we thank you both for being here. And, for people who may not know who you are, Keith, because we have new listeners each and every time you are on the show. This is something that has affected you your entire life, and this is something that you have had to live a little bit of a different life than the majority of people out there.
Well, that's putting it mildly, yes.
Oh, I'm trying to be kind.
Yeah, I gave that up a while ago. But no, from the get-go, like when we're talking about my entire life, I literally ran into the first batch while I was in the incubator. So, first thing I found out is astral travel when you're in an incubator is a bad idea. Over 25, I think right now I've got something in the neighborhood of 90 or so that I've documented as far as different races. And, it wouldn't be so bad if it was just running into them. But I've come back with marks, as in gashes, gouges, holes that other people have borne witness to. And before anybody jumps on that, no, I don't have a whole pile of photographs of them, and don't even think about it. It happened. It's kind of like thinking of taking a picture of your dining room table every morning. You just don't think about it.
Why would I want to take a picture of my dining room? Why would I want to take a picture of my dining room table, man? Come on.
Exactly. Point. If it happens that frequently, you get up every morning, you see the dining room table. Why take a picture of it every morning?
Okay.
For me, running into the off-worlders. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Keith, I think what I can relate to is I do speak with a lot of experiencers, and I even find this true in myself. It's like you said, sometimes the activity or what is going on with you happens so frequently that not only do you kind of take it for granted, but in pursuit of researching yourself, you often don't log these things that just become kind of everyday to you. So, yeah, I mean, if things happen frequently enough, you might jot them down here and there if they stand out, or if you notice kind of a change in your routine. But, yeah, the day-to-day sometimes slide.
Well, I know with me, the number of times I've had to throw pillowcases out because of waking up with blood all over them, you just don't even think about it anymore. You know,
I haven't had that happen for a long time, man. It's been a couple of years, probably when my ET experiences, and I thought I was just hitting my nose at night. I had no idea about, the fact that is part of phenomena.
Yeah. I mean, it's annoying, but it's worse when you wake up and the blood is still wet, though.
Yeah, that's not fun.
That
is not fun at all.
I remember getting up one morning, and at the time I was still married, and I had a gash running from the center of my forehead all the way around to the right temple, a parallel one running from the bridge of my nose all the way around to the earlobe, and a third one running from the center of my chin all the way around to the jawline. My wife at the time took one look at me and looked at the blood on the pillow. She goes, "I don't even want to know what you were fighting last night."
Speaking of which, a lot of people, when they go into these situations, Keith, and we'll get to some audience questions here in just a few minutes. But when you go into these situations, a lot of people have that fight or flight type of attitude. And because we're not used to the situation, a lot of people who experience ET contact for the first time, they want to punch, they want to kick, they want to scream, they want to hit and fight their way out of it. How do a lot of these ETs actually take that type of human violence?
Most of them don't consider what humans do violent. A bit reactionary, a bit uncontrolled, but they really don't see it as being violent. Because on the whole, humans, when they're taken, yes, they'll push, they'll kick, and what have you. But since they don't have any built-in weaponry, it's not usually very painful. Unless you take people like the Greys.
Okay, fill us in on that, bud.
Yeah, trying to sneeze is what the problem is. Sorry about that. The Greys, because they're a much more fragile skeleton, if a human hits them, they can break limbs. So what the Greys do is the Greys quite often have the Nords with them. And of course, Nords would pass for very tall humans. And the reason they have been dubbed Nords is because they look like the old Nordic Vikings.
All right, first question coming in comes from Davin in Vietnam, who is asking, Keith, how long do Bigfoot and gray aliens live on average?
Gray aliens is a good question. Bigfoot usually about 30 years. The Greys, there are very few that actually live to old age. Most of them end up passing away because of problems. Usually that means explosive decompression.
Okay, so there are other alien species out there that live a lot longer. What's the average age of an extraterrestrial? Are they living for 10,000 years, 2,000 years, 58,385 years? What's that going on?
I can give you an average. Okay, you take a look at the Laborians, for instance. Now, Laborians will live for approximately, they live for an average of about a year old. But for Earth, that means they live for about 365,000 years. Okay. When you take a look at the Drakes, they just don't die of old age. It's just that simple. And then, of course, the The Zerziks are another race that just don't die. And if you want the real short-lived, you take a look at I believe it's the Archons that only live for literally what humans would conceive as nanoseconds. But they replicate so fast. And when we talk about replicate, I don't mean that they have kids. I mean they literally reproduce their own body. And so the original body they're born with doesn't last very long. But they just keep replicating the thing and passing it on.
Okay, so do they have spirits that move on to a new life or a new body or whatever it is?
They have a spirit. Quite frankly, it is not unheard of. As a matter of fact, it's quite common for when an alien passes away, it may choose to come back as a human. A human may pass away and choose to come back as a Laborian. Okay. These are just different physical bodies. It's like choosing between a Honda motorcycle and a Cadillac. Take your pick what vehicle you want to use.
Okay. All right. Nicole, any questions for R Keith?
Yeah, I do have a few questions. So we're talking about Laborian, and that's a specific race, correct? Because I will admit the different races of aliens is not in my background. It's new to me. But I do always kind of have some blanketed questions no matter what the race. Like I know you said the Nordics are kind of like tall humans, but these Laborians, like, do they have reproductive systems? Do they have belly buttons? Do they eat food? Do they travel with food? Do they even need food since they kind of shed?
Actually,
they constantly?
They are in the second book I'm working on. But yes, they are live born. It usually takes them about a month to really get active because they have to be raised by their parents and protected until such time as they're capable of defending themselves. They are virtually totally carnivorous. Right. Preferring to work on live food, but if they have to go after carrion, they will. And because they are high density, whereas a Terran tiger will open somebody up, you get spagged by a Terran tiger, and they'll leave marks. Laborian pops their claws and strikes your car, you're replacing the door. Because they'll cut right through the door.
Fascinating.
So, I mean, that's
awesome. All right, let's move on, guys. We got more questions here. Frapp is asking, Keith, where does this information you have received come from?
First-hand experience. I don't bother with the research. This is the stuff that I've lived through. So when I talk about having friends in high places, I'm literally meaning I've got friends in high places.
I love that. All right, moving on here. Space is asking, can Greys and Sasquatch hybridize into a Gray Squatch?
Well, the theory would be yes. The question would be why. See, the reason the Greys have not, at least to the best of my understanding, have not hybridized a Sasquatch at this point, is because they don't have anything functional to learn from them, and the Sasquatch just don't want to deal with the off-worlders that much.
Okay.
That's the biggest issue. Now, of course, if we take a look at the Wara, that's a slightly different issue. But see, the Sasquatch are a very passive group, and therefore, when the Greys are trying to study them, they're looking at them more They're closer to animal in the Graves' opinion than anything else. Little do they seem to understand.
Right. All right, let's move on here. And Nathan is asking, can you speak, Keith, about the alien-Sasquatch connection, if there is one?
Well, it's more of a misunderstanding. And what I mean by that is there's a secondary race that looks very similar to the Sasquatch, called the Wara. Now, the Wara is, quite frankly, more closely akin to apes when you take a look at the size of it, but a lot more volatile. Right. The Wara are they're a race that does come here to take a look. And part of it is for hunting. Most of it is more like vacation, if you will. And, they do enjoy watching humans, further around trying to figure out which way they're going. But my understanding, and David and I have gotten into this discussion a number of times, is the Sasquatch evolved on Earth. They're not actually alien. They're what I refer to as an ancient race, meaning they've been here for a while.
All right. Vintage is asking, Keith, which alien species is likely to be the first one to be shown by the American government?
I don't know. And the reason I say that is because I don't know which movies came out first. You see, I know back, I think it was 1976, when Steven Spielberg put out the original Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That was one. When they first brought out Nosferatu, right, which is a very good rendition of the Shadow Walkers. Okay, when they first came out with the idea, when they started doing the movies about Wolfman, right, about the lycanthropes. Again, we're dealing with races that are very real and have been here for a while. Because the lichen did not actually come from here, nor for that matter did the Shadow Walkers. And then you've got the Tormenon shown in Jupiter Ascending. We have the Udina, which were shown in just recently when they came out with Arrival. So I mean, these are all ones that the scientists have shown. Thankfully, Godzilla itself is a wonderful movie, but not an actual critter. At least not as far as I've ever seen.
All right. Nicole?
Oh, well, I just immediately got flooded with a bunch of movie questions that popped into my head. Like, okay, if not Godzilla, what about those things that come through in Pacific Rim, where they wear the giant robot suits to fight these Godzilla-looking alien things that come through portals?
I got to take a look at Pacific Rim again. I think I saw it once.
Ooh. I thought it was better than Godzilla, personally, you mentioned Arrival. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies right now. I think it's a hopeful representation.
Of which?
And I like the linguistics behind it. That whole idea was fascinating to me. So
I missed the name of the movie.
You mentioned The Arrival. You said those were representative of a species. They seemed helpful in the movie. Was that the accurate part, or was it more of like based on the looks? They kind of looked like giants.
The whole thing was pretty accurate, including the linguistics.
Language in the form of pictorial shapes.
Yep.
Like that side of language, yeah.
Yeah, because we got to understand, the human race even thinks in pictures. It does not think in words. If you think about it, and somebody says the word hammer, do you see in your mind's eye the word hammer, or do you get a picture of a hammer in your head?
Several pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's move on here. Bee's Nest is asking, Keith, as we only got about 2.5 minutes, why do they keep abducting humans when they could get all the info they need from one human?
Because one human does not contain all the info. The changes on the subquantum level of the genetic genome of the triple helix is so intense. Once you start looking at the different variations, you're not getting it out of one person. Let's face it. People born in the heat of the Deep South do not have the same genetic makeup nor the same experiences as people born in the far north.
All right, Tammy. Go ahead, finish up.
It just boils down to getting a wider array of information that they can work with.
All right, Tammy is asking, do aliens still do the anal probe thing, or is that all behind us now? Pun intended.
Unfortunately, that is still very much part of the normal examination. It's kind of like asking if modern doctors still do that when they take you in for your physical.
Only after the age of 40. Allegedly.
Yeah, well, just leave that one alone.
Yes. Okay, so when they're doing the whole anal probe thing, is that only happening to men, or is it happening to women as well?
Men, women, children, animals, plants, it doesn't matter. It's a way of getting internal fluid without getting the interference of the epidural, of the dermis.
Got you. They don't even have the common decency to say, hey, what do you say I take you out for a drink?
It's okay, now
get you a little excited about this project first. They're always so rude. I want dinner, damn it.
Just don't ask the tech like to invite you to dinner, because they will.
I know, and you'll be the meal. Keith, you hold on. Nicole, you hold on. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. It happens the first week of every new month here on Spaced Out Radio. We are here to woo it up with you, and I know we got a ton of questions. I'm hoping that through the break, they will not leave our chat room. If they do, you may have to retype them. If you're in our chat rooms, enjoy. R Keith Andrews, Nicole Sackage, the ET Connection continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month, and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Good to have each and every one of you with us tonight. We want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues tonight on the mighty SOR, which is where we're hanging on out. Keith had to take a phone call off to the side, so Nicole Sackage, our special guest, is here hanging out with us as well. The lovely and talented Nicole, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Excellent.
Hanging out.
Excellent. I got to ask you this, okay? What's it like working for a speed speaker like Grant Cameron?
I think I've gotten used to it, and I don't even really think he speaks that fast, that quickly anymore. But, you just have to tell him to slow down sometimes, and he will. He does.
Grant takes a lot of heat from a lot of people, okay? Because sometimes he seems really far out there. Other times he seems to be bang on. You work with him closely. What's that like?
I don't think he seems that far out there, but I think those closest to him probably feel the same way. Now, from an outside point of view, like before I got to know Grant, he seemed almost like two different kind of researchers. He was really heavy into the history and the nuts and bolts, and spent the bulk of his career doing that. But then, you start asking around, and it was like, what's going on with Grant Cameron? He's researching into things like orbs and physical mediums and near-death experiences, and that seems very aloof to some people, but I think for a lot of experiencers out there, they chuckle and they're like, yep, Grant's spot on. We know exactly what Grant's doing. So it's an exciting ride. I mean, it's nice, when you dig around in the history of things or research documents or dig in an archive like Stanton Friedman's paperwork, that can get really boring and tedious sometimes. So it's good to mix it up with the experiencer side of the phenomenon.
Okay, so with Grant and working with Grant closely the way you have over the last number of months, what's the biggest thing you have learned?
That there is fun in ufology, that I think a lot of us, we take it seriously because we truly care about this field. And sometimes in caring about it so much, we can get defensive about it or get on negative topics or argumentative towards the things that we believe in. But I've found with Grant that, when you kind of push all the back and forth aside and people's opinions one way or the other, and you just talk with people in this community, it is so much fun.
Okay, so Grant is very well respected out in this field, and, he takes his research to all different levels. He never closes a door, and that's probably why a lot of people give him heat, because one day he's researching what presidents know about UFOs, the next day he's looking into jump rooms and whether or not they actually exist, or orbs, or whatever it may be. One of his famous questions to experiencers is, did they let you fly the ship? Right? So when I look at Grant, he has so many doors open. How does he keep it all organized?
I'm not sure. I think probably like the rest of us, which is not very organized. I mean, I think he definitely has his projects, and a lot of them are ongoing. I think that's one thing people might not realize is they say things like, oh, yeah, Grant cranks out these books all the time. Here's a book, here's another book, here's a new book. But that's truly because to take your time over the field that you work in, if you have, like, you know, you kind of said he's got a lot of irons in the fire and he doesn't close doors, you know, that's because a lot of times you have to step back in ufology and play the waiting game and see how things fall out, or take the time to research it and let your research take you where it may. And so I think he always has a lot of projects, and when you start diving into the phenomenon, that's when you find things like it's all connected and oneness. So, of course, you can have a lot of projects going on, and you can see how they all fit together. But maybe everybody else doesn't quite see that yet with Grant's work. But I think he sees it. Yeah. I think he sees where he's going.
So let me ask you this on a personal level, from before you started working with him to now, when he says this is all tied together, this is all oneness, and we just haven't figured it out yet. Did you buy that before you started working with Grant? Or do you look at it now and say, you know what? Paranormal is really tied to UFOs, which is tied to consciousness, which is tied to the cryptid world. And there's that invisible thread that kind of connects everything.
I didn't really understand how all the elements of the paranormal tied in with ufology necessarily, but I did have a good grasp of the oneness based on my own experiences throughout the years. And that was one thing that actually led me to Grant. You know, not only the document research and the Stanton Friedman files, you know, of course I was always interested in that side of his work, but I think on your last show I referred to him as shout outs. Grant does like shout outs, like right now it's like, who's got orb pictures? Or a funny one is the cat portal post, you know, who has a cat portal story. And that's kind of what Grant had done. Like you said, he has these series of questions that he seems to ask experiencers. And I messaged him and answered a few of those questions, or had, you know, said I could, you know, speak to some of those questions because they come from my experiences. And so it did kind of fall into place with views I had on the phenomenon already. I didn't think Grant was spinning out there in woo land, although a lot of people did. And when I tried to figure out why they thought that, they were like, well, you know, it was the back and forth between kind of the two types of research that he does, which as soon as I heard that, I was like, well, that's exactly what I'm looking into. That's exactly, you know, what I've experienced. And so I don't know. I am not so bold as to call it things like, oh, it was a synchronicity, but I do think things fell into place with how I met Grant and the things we were both researching and continue to research. And he's
hello.
Hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith.
How you doing?
No, man.
Getting a little bit of feedback,
Keith.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I was putting the phone down.
Yeah, still have some feedback, Keith. You got a speaker on or something.
Oh, well, I don't have any choice there. We ended up losing the headphone.
Okay. Yeah, that's better now. Thank you. Okay. No. So now that Keith is back, we can continue with questions from our audience here. Let's go over to Twitter. And Nicole, we'll get you to hold off on the Grant talk here in a little bit. We'll get back to that, I promise you. All right. Speaking of the anal probes, Goddess Michelle is asking, what species of aliens are actually using the anal probe scientific method?
The Greys are the most common ones, because it's the easiest way to get the most information. They're the ones in charge of the hybridization program. So they're the ones that are most prolific with it.
All right. let's move on here. Greco is asking, and we'll give him a few questions here. Question 1, do any aliens mummify their dead or living?
Oh, yeah. There's a couple of them that do. Okay. I'm just trying to remember what the name was, but the spider ants is more to the point. Definitely do, but they mummify them for a slightly different reason than what humans do. You know, in their case, they mummify them for later use. I think that's called preserving. But the Mobians do still mummify them when they're putting them to rest. But then they've got the firm belief that after they pass, they will come back in the same form. And the really neat part with the Mobians is they usually do. You know, because their mummification process, unlike mankind's, which takes all the innards out, the mummification program that the Mobians use literally is a rejuvenation program. You know, it's almost akin to the idea of curing meat. They wrap them in specific herbs that they know of and rejuvenate the body so they can carry on. Net result, Mobians don't exactly have a lifespan. I mean, they do have a lifespan, but it tends to be several thousand years if they're lucky. Depends on how well the rejuvenation program works.
All right. Moving on, Greco's question number 2, because we're going to give him the natural hat trick here. Have any aliens figured out how to make their technology more compatible with the human brain for control and use? How about the weapons?
Well, we'll start with the obvious part. They figured that part out easy a long time ago. Problem is, or the benefit is, the off-worlders have no reason to put an implant into a human brain to control the human, because it interferes with the creative process that they look for in the humans in the first place. As far as weapons, they absolutely have biomechanical weapons that are directly attuned to bioorganisms. Not the least of which is an arm-mounted pulse cannon, which will take the pardon?
Oh, I'm just listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, they do. They have built an arm-mounted pulse cannon, which literally takes the subquantum magnetic pulse off the human body or off of a living body and turns it into a weapon. Needless to say, unlimited ammo as long as the person keeps breathing.
It's kind of cool. All right.
It is.
Third question from Greco, then we'll move on to someone else. And here it is. How can I join an alien posse right now to pillage the universe and take my rightful place as a god of the Milky Way? Keith? Did the aliens get you? Where did Keith go? Nicole, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Well, where did Keith go all of a sudden? Did he hit his mute button again and not turning off?
Abduction.
Total abduction right now. Keith totally got
Dimensional
abducted.
content.
I honestly don't know where Keith went. I think what happens here is he hit his mute button, and now he's in panic mode that he cannot figure out how to turn it off. I bet you anything that's what's happening right now. He's hearing us right now, but we can't hear him, and he's probably yelling at his computer right now. Well, I can hear you. You can't hear me. What did I do wrong? I'll get a message here anytime from him. All right. I'm going to message him right now. Where are you? We can't hear you. All right, Nicole, I got a question. Let's go to this one from Greco, because this involves you. Have you ever had or heard? Oh, there's Keith. Now we got the hollowness.
Well, that's because I just got back.
Where were you?
I had to call. They were just checking numbers.
Oh. Okay. You didn't message me and let me know you got a call.
Oh, well, what I tried saying, but I had to go, was he's going to have to wait for the answer. You were trying to ask something and ask Greco's last question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, let's get to this one. Let's get Nicole in here. And then this one's from Greco, too. You can answer it, too. And it is, have you ever had or heard of an accidental possession with a totally malevolent entity?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I don't know if you want to call it accidental. But I've certainly heard of possessions with a totally malevolent entity. Had quite an entertaining conversation with one like that. Because he was very intent on killing the guy he was after. And politely put, he wanted the guy's body. And not in a nice way.
All right.
So we came to an agreement. Either he was going to let the guy go, or I was going to end up correcting his evolutionary path.
Makes sense. Nicole, your thoughts?
Possession, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could say, I was raised Catholic. I know Catholics believe in exorcisms and possession of that sort. And I do know channelers, do channel other beings sometimes. And I did read some theories on body snatching once that kind of freaked me out years ago when I read it. And I guess that follows in suit with, if you're having an out-of-body experience and you're outside of your body, somebody could, hijack your meat suit. And I don't know if it's ever true. I didn't pursue this, reading any further, but kind of falls in line with possession.
All right. Nathan is asking, Keith, is there any place on this planet that we can meet a hybrid?
Anywhere on the planet you could. Depends on where they are. If you're asking if there's a place where hybrids congregate, not that I'm aware of. But then you got to realize that most hybrids do not know they're hybrids.
How come?
Well, think of it this way. Back when adoptions were closed, most kids that were adopted did not know they were adopted either. It's just not something that is announced to very many of them. That would be the how come.
All right. Let's see here. Lord of Land is asking, Keith, are there any aliens that are currently world leaders?
Not that I'm aware of, because quite frankly, it goes against everything that their civilizations dictate. They are not allowed to take over a planet. They can work amongst it, but they are the human race, being the dominant, technologically advanced, surface-dwelling race, are the caretakers of the planet. So the off-worlders are not permitted to take over a command position.
How come?
Well, because the human race cannot evolve as the human race if an alien is actually running the show.
All right. Joe is asking, do aliens ever hire Bigfoot to work security around a landing spot?
No, we can safely rule that one out. I mean, they're big enough, but they've got the wrong temperament for it. Now, the water, on the other hand, they would be quite readily, they'll hire them. The water, like I said, look very similar to the Bigfoot, except for the fact their arms are a little longer, and they definitely are a whole lot more volatile. neat idea. The nice part with the war is if you hire them for security, they'll rip the arms off of somebody and beat them to death with a wet end, and then report that somebody tried getting in.
All right, let's move on here. All right, R Keith Andrews, the ET Connection, special guest Nicole Sakic as well, hanging on out with us, so we really do appreciate that. We always appreciate you guys coming on in. Let's ask Greco's question here from earlier that we didn't get to, which was, how can I join an alien posse right now to pillage the universe and take my rightful place as one of the gods of the Milky Way?
Good luck with that thought. Number one, humans are too fragile and too unpredictable to put in control. Therefore, you can always try and hook up with the Tech-Lec, but you won't make it very far into space. See, first rule of thumb, if you're going out into outer space, you don't go out with the idea off of Earth to try and pillage. Because the races out there, people talk about war here, and they've played around with war. Mankind does not understand the idea of fighting. They don't have rules. Okay. And a lot of the so-called pirate races that do that sort of thing are more than willing to kill their own people just to get what they're after. I know, that was subtle, wasn't it?
Well, I'm trying to think about that. You're making me scratch my head here.
See, when that made me think of the Reavers from, what was the film or the TV series? Firefly.
Oh, Firefly. Okay, yeah.
They were out on the outer rim of the known galaxy, and they'd been out there so long, they pretty much were just wild and tore apart or devoured themselves or anybody they encountered.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be a pirate in space. It's just not a healthy line of work.
Do you see humans pirating in the future? We talk about, the space race, this new space race could be possible, mining space adventures. So do you see, human space pirating in the future?
Absolutely. I absolutely do. I still think they're retarded if they do it, but what the heck? At least it kills off more of them all at the same time.
See, all right, on that note, I got to jump back in here because we got to go to break here at the top of the hour. R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection happens at the beginning of each month where we talk about all things extraterrestrial. And if you want to play along, have a question answered, you got to join us in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Our chat rooms are on YouTube. They are also on Spreaker, our Space Travelers Club at our website, Revolution Radio chat room, LGAB chat room, the Facebook chat room. I think that's it. I think I got them all right there. And yes, I'm watching each and every one of them. More Spaced Out Radio with hour number 2 coming up next.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today. Hi, This is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hey, Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Appreciate you all tuning on in. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Yes, also, big thank you to everybody listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Tabloidees. Tabloidees is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. R Keith Andrews is back with the ET Connection. We do this at the beginning of each month where we break down the extraterrestrial contact people are having. To play along, you got to be in one of our chat rooms to get a question straight to Keith, or on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. We also are joined by special guest Nicole Sakic. She works as an assistant researcher under Grant Cameron. Welcome back, everyone.
And thanks for having us.
Woohoo! Glad to be here.
Oh, yes. We love our woo around here. We love our woo. All right, let's get right to the audience questions here. All right.
Hey, Dave. Dave,
yes.
Can I say I saw it scroll past a couple times from PBR. I can answer that question if you want. It's not.
I will get to it. Okay. So the question is from PBR, is asking about psychedelics. And, you know, Grant Cameron recently had talked about psychedelics, I guess, on a video. I'm going to let you go into detail about that.
Well, to answer his initial question, I could say no. Grant has never said I should try psychedelics or mushrooms or anything. I can say it was the opposite, though. I had told him I had experienced mushrooms in the past, and I didn't have a bad trip or whatever people say is bad about it. And so it was the opposite. There was no encouragement from Grant to me, but I think he did it for the first time and had quite a few experiences. And his other assistant, or another one of his assistants, Sinead Wellahan, she's all into plant medicine and healing and consciousness, and she's really been assisting him on that experience journey. So you can find out, I think if you watch it, the post he was referring to, it does explain a lot. So.
All right. That's at White House UFOs on YouTube, correct? Or presidential UFOs?
White House UFO on YouTube.
All right.
He posts everything to Facebook as well.
All right. Keith, Michael Leger is asking, which species of alien is the most compassionate?
I would honestly have to say the Greys are ranking up there because they really do go out of their way to make things work. I'd be inclined to say of the off-worlders, Mobians are probably the one of the better ones. The Orions are some of the more passionate, not necessarily compassionate, but certainly more passionate. Yeah, I think that would be where you're seeing with the highest level of compassion.
All right. Frapsap is asking, what reason, or for what reason, have you had all of this alien contact with all these species and not more people, Keith?
I wish I could give you an answer for that, and if somebody wants to trade me places, they're more than welcome. Yeah. Because I really don't have a definite answer for that, aside from the fact that the day I was born, I ran into the town council at 12. I'd had enough being here for only a couple hours. I was not happy. I was going to go home and got told I wasn't allowed. So precisely why, I can't give you a definitive.
All right. Cable Guy Matt is asking, how common is the human race in our galaxy?
They're on Earth. I mean, they are on the moon. They do have a station on EO, right? They're on Mars, and they do have a station recently set up on Titan. But as far as, and I mean, if you want to take direct human descendants, Mobius, the people on Mobius came from Earth. And yeah, I know that defies everything you've heard about this is the first time we've hit space travel. It's not.
All right. The Quick, first time in our chat room, thank you so much, is asking, which alien species has scared you?
Oh, that's the easy one. Now, if I can remember what, that was the ants. and this is why I keep my book handy, is because I cannot remember all the names myself. I have enough trouble remembering everybody else's name. You know. But no, the ant folk are definitely the ones that are no fun. And I've had more complications with them than any other race.
Did you try any of those ant traps that you could get at the hardware store?
Yeah, they're too small. Way too small.
Oh, that's not very good. Not very good at all. All right, let's move on here. Jeffrey is asking, Keith, are there any planets out there where humans can live on naturally, like Earth?
Yeah. Mobius. Mobius is in the same orbit as Earth, but on the direct opposite side of the moon. Opposite side of the sun. It is, a human could land there and live there just as they live on Earth. You'd have to get used to certain differences, like different plants and animals, and of course, you'd also have to get used to the idea that they actually don't fight each other. But that's the only planet that I know of right offhand, especially in the neighborhood, that mankind can directly live on.
All right. Let us move on here as we continue on with R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection with special guest Nicole Sackich. Nicole, when you hear Keith talk about all of this, I know this is a little bit eye-opening. Considering your studies with Grant Cameron and everything you're doing there, how much of an eye-opener is it to hear, that there's a lot of this stuff going on behind the typical UFO scene?
Uh-oh.
Now, where's Nicole?
Hi.
Was that question to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Last time I checked, you're the Nicole on the phone.
I had a phone call at the same time you were asking the beginning part of the question. And I hung up on, don't worry, I didn't disappear.
But aliens
Am I
got
surprised
you.
to find so much about what behind the scenes?
Well, behind the scenes, you're very focused, and a lot of people are very focused on what is happening in the UFO world. Okay, now when you hear the other side of the experiential side of what Keith is talking about, how does this kind of make you think?
Well, it makes me think that experiencers are like snowflakes, and I fall back on the contact modalities for as many alien species as Keith is saying there is out there. I believe there's that many ways to get in the field to consciously connect with them, probably as well. So, yeah,
it is tough.
It's not too surprising. It's not too surprising once you lurk in this world for so long. But I guess from an outsider's perspective, yeah, it would be mind-blowing.
All right. Game Vet is asking you, Keith, what alien race has a ship that is round with a notch in the front?
That is round with a notch in the front?
Yeah.
The Talons or not the Talons, rather, the Mobians have a ship that if you look at it in the right angle, is going to look like that. It actually isn't round, but it does look like it's got a notch. The round ones with the bobble on top, that's the Martokians. And your standard saucers that everybody sees, those are your graves. Those are scout ships.
All right, let's move on here. Juan on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio is asking, can the geckoid race save me 50% or more on my car insurance?
Well, that depends. Understand, they only travel in ships that are like 6 inches tall. So, if you can get into a vehicle that size, probably.
Oh, that one was good. That one was good. Oh, thank you. Thank you. PBR is asking, Keith, how many different alien craft have you been on?
I would have to say, now, are we talking, it depends. If we're talking different styles of ship, I'm just rough guessing, probably 24 or more. If we're talking how many different ships I've been on, now we're dealing in the hundreds. And probably, frankly, in the thousands. I mean, I'm 57, I've been doing this since I was born, so,
All right, let's move on here. Anthony is asking, Keith, have you ever been interested in helping other experiencers process their emotions?
Always. How's that for a short answer? I'm not certain I can say, because I've been that way my whole life trying to help people deal with this sort of thing. Of course, it's been funny because it's only been in the last 10 years, really, that people have started opening up about it. Until then, they'd all be hiding and not saying a word for fear of being locked up for being nuts.
All right. I'm just trying to, my YouTube chat kind of jumped on me here, so I'm trying to find where I left off. All right, moving on here. Frapsap is asking, Keith, you have no written proof. Why should we believe your stories?
Well, Dave, I'm going to say something that's going to possibly get you in trouble. But frankly, I could care less if people believe it. Yeah, I know, that's a real lousy answer because it doesn't offer any option of mine trying to convince people.
Well, you know what? I'll do. Go ahead, Nicole. Go ahead.
I would say I don't think that's a bad answer at all. I think most experiencers get to that point in their life where they don't have to explain it to anybody else, or they don't really care if anybody else believes. It's not what it's about.
No, there were only 3 people I was worried whether they believed me. They were all clinical psychiatrists. And all of them found me perfectly sane, so I'm happy with that.
Let's go down this road a little bit, because I think this is a powerful road to go on. Okay, for people who haven't experienced, they want that proof. They don't want the outlandish or what they deem to be outlandish claims. Okay, and this is where a lot of people get a little frustrated and their ire gets up, Keith, in regards to it. But I also understand the role of the experiencer, because there always comes a point where there's nothing you can do. You're used to people not believing you, okay? And it's not like if you've experienced anything supernatural, it's not like you could say to a Bigfoot or a ghost or an alien, just, hey, can you hold on right there? I'm just going to get my phone out to grab a picture, or I'm going to run over to my house over there where my friend is sleeping. I'm going to go wake them up so that way they could come on out and be my eyewitness to this. That's not how it works. And therefore, the chances of actually getting any sort of quote, end quote, evidence is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult, Keith.
Very. And this is why I said the only three people that have mattered. I spent 20 years working with a shrink trying to figure out what was going on with me. And when I asked him to put me in touch with, when he went to retire, I asked him to put me in touch with, with some of his colleagues, because there were still things I was trying to work through. And he looks at me and he goes, no. He says, look, I can verify as much as I can. Everything you've said is absolutely consistent. But he goes, if I turn you over to even my most open-minded colleague, they will have you drugged out and locked up so fast your head will spin. He says, I won't do it to you. Can I prove it? No. And the people I have proven it to by, shall we say, accidental inclusion weren't exactly happy about the inclusion. So you just get used to the idea that I tell people flat out, my life is more science fiction than anything else. And, the other issue that was extremely necessary for me was my own father on his deathbed corroborated everything that I'd been through and apologized for leaving me think I was nuts most of my life. The shrinks, by the way, argued the point. They said I was perfectly fine.
All right, let's move on here. All right. Sure. Prairie Fire is asking, Keith, which alien race controls the largest empire?
Oh, now that is an excellent question. I like that one. I'm not entirely certain. I will tell you that, because the mechanoid race they are not a member of the consortium, by the way. But they are ones that are moving into the area, which is going to cause a phenomenal problem, because they cover a staggering amount of room that makes a consortium actually look small. Of the other ones, most of them cover local areas. They're out here. They're out in our area, looking at, watching the evolution of mankind, which is what draws them out here, because of the information out this end of the world. It's a debatable point, though, that the fire elementals cover a staggering amount of room, because they will get into every star they will get people onto. Understanding, when we talk about them being made of fire, that is quite literally what they're made of. Do not shake their hand. Painful experience, you only make that mistake once.
Kind of hurts.
Yeah, quite frankly, it really does.
Yeah, a little bit of burnage there, you would think. All right, let's move on here. Bee's Nest wants to know whether or not Sasquatch breeds sexually.
The answer is yes. They are bisexual. Well, no, that's not the word I'm looking for. They might be, but no. They do require male and female. And I forget what that actual term is.
All right. Renee has a question for you, Nicole, asking, did Grant summon any UFOs while on the shrooms?
It wasn't a sighting experience, but he did have experiences while on the shrooms. And I guess I'll take the time to clarify a little bit right now. This wasn't like a party type, ooh, I'm going to take shrooms and, geek out with my friends. He followed very kind of specific protocols. He's researched this for a long time. He only, I believe, took a half of the dose that I think you want to build up to taking. So it's about expanding your consciousness. It's that type of personal experience. It wasn't, take mushrooms and go out sky watching and see if you can see E5 in some, light crafts. It wasn't that. A consciousness experience.
Makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Devin is asking, Keith, what does Dave need? I guess it's about me. What do I need to do and to leave at my gifting site to have communication with Sasquatch?
Yeah, that'd definitely be yours, Dave.
Yeah. I'm working on it. Got to see if they're back in the area. I might do a big change. I'm probably going to move it to a different area here. Brutus is asking, are Greys the aliens the Hopi Indians in New Mexico prophesize about?
In all fairness, no. Because the Hopi Indians were talking about a child being left behind, about an off-worlder being left behind. That was Strazazian. 7.5 to 8.5 foot reptilian.
One tall alien, man.
Hopis are attached to.
All right, let us move on as we have about 45 seconds to go here before we go to break. At the bottom of the hour, R Keith Andrews, the ET Connection. Keith, where can people find your book?
Well, that's easy. Contact me at Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca or look up my YouTube channel, R Keith Andrews. And at the bottom of every one of the videos, you'll find all the contact information for it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. We are going to go out for a break here at the bottom of the hour. And when we come back, we're going to take more of your questions because that's what we do on the ET Connection with R Keith Andrews and special guest Nicole Sakic as we are riding the Woo Train tonight as we do it once a month with R Keith, and usually a special guest has been joining us recently over the last few months. It's going to get interesting. It's going to get entertaining as we got Keith and Nicole for another hour before we get to the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Lots more of the ET Connection coming up. And your questions on Spaced Out Radio.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for tuning us on in. I want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Please do us a favor, give us a follow on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we continue on with the ET Connection and R Keith Andrews, where we talk aliens and really weird woo all night long. Our special guest tonight joining Keith, Nicole Sakich. Here we go. Questions right off the bat. Nikki is asking you, Keith, are aliens who are human in physical appearance, range from 4'10" to 5'7" in height, are Caucasian but have a blue-green skin color on top, have black hair and piercing blue eyes? Are they Mayan?
Quite frankly, yes. Or at least that's how they manifested, and that's what people called them when they got here. They are actually, you see, the Mayans were descended from the Lemurians in the first place.
So where are they now? What's home for them now?
Well, the Lemurians, when their civilization collapsed, some of them ended up on Mobius, but the majority of them actually died on the spot, and it was not a war, it was a miscalculation. You know, they are almost completely extinct. There's very few of them left. At least on this planet. Like I said, there was a number of the ones that survived. A number of them managed to get off planet and headed for Mobius.
Okay. Corinth, the booking guy, is asking, if a hybrid felt he was being called to lead a nation into an evolutionary jump, would the alien race who created him help him in this endeavor?
They'd actually terminate him if he was trying to do so. So I'm thinking that would be no. See, the reality is, even if it's even if the hybrid does not know he's a hybrid, if he tries getting into that position, he will be summarily collected and informed of what his status is, and he will drop right out of any competition for major leadership.
All right, let's move on here. Greco is asking, are there still whole villages being abducted?
Not very often. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to find it happen periodically, but that would have to be with a new race coming into the area, which we are getting new ones recently. But because it is kind of it is a monitored situation, they don't take because full villages vanishing make humans very edgy. I mean, they get edgy when an individual vanishes in front of them.
So, Keith, you said that they're prevented from ruling nations or leading people from like a government political kind of aspect. Are they allowed to be spiritual leaders?
Only that depends entirely on one little issue. If they are working inside a existing platform, for instance, if they are following let's just say Christian, since most people know about it, if they are following the teachings that that general doctrine teaches, and not claiming to be that individual return, right, seeking to put themselves on a massive pedestal, then knock yourself out. It's when they start trying to influence mass groups to do their bidding. That's when they get pulled out of the equation.
So where does Scientology fall on this scale? Not to go into a full-blown religious talk, but I mean, the way I understand Scientology is that they believe they are incarnations of alien spirits.
Well,
so
I guess in a nutshell, we could safely say yes. But then, if you think about it, an alien, when it passes away, can choose to incarnate as a human. So I'm not going to say they aren't.
No, I was meaning like you said, as long as it adheres to a pre-existing doctrine, and Scientology we know is one of the newest founded religions in modern society. So,
yeah, see, from my understanding, like whether they're reincarnated from a previous alien incarnation, I won't argue that point. It wouldn't be a shock, and with a philosophy like that in that religion, it would naturally be a draw to those types of people. It's kind of like finding people of a like mind. But are Scientologists another race that people should line up behind and go, that's the people that will lead us to peace and tranquility? I wouldn't hold my breath on it.
All right, let's move on here. Jenny is asking, do aliens protect Earth like blowing up meteorites or other things that could damage this planet?
Yes. Anything that will directly threaten the survival of the existence of the planet itself, even a full-scale nuclear war, they will interrupt. Anything that will disrupt the balance of the planet itself, they will interfere with. Now, do understand that doesn't mean they'll stop the little asteroids. It just means planet killers you can pretty much ignore.
That's nice. They have a big baseball bat.
In a manner of speaking, they've got a planet killer.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
I mean, you should see the main gun on their flagship.
All right, let's move on here, Keith, as we continue on with the ET connection here on Spaced Out Radio. And our next question, there's my mouse. Trying to find my mouse here. All right. Let's see here. Where are we? This chat room is moving so fast right now. Greco is asking, are there any alien species currently living in Antarctica?
Alien, not so much. Off-world, yes. And it's not so much in Antarctica as under it. There's quite a number of them that you can get to from under Antarctica.
Like Megatron?
No. Although that's a cute thought.
Thought I had you there. I had you there.
If they were here, Earth would already be out of the equation. And this is, it's funny, I watch this a lot, and I talked to you about this earlier, Dave. Then, every time I turn around, somebody's going, are the aliens preparing to attack? Well, something people have to realize is it doesn't matter what race. If they were absolutely bound and determined to invade Earth, the war would be over before mankind ever knew it had even started. Because the first thing they do is they would globally bombard the planet from the far side of Mars with an advanced EMP pulse that would not just take out the active electronics, it would take out all of the constructed components, such as metal wires that were already, even if they were coiled up and not attached to anything, it would disrupt the submolecular system, whereby all existing electronics and electrical components would be no longer possible. Then they'd pull into the orbit of the moon and they'd start picking off the asteroid, the debris that's sitting in orbit around the Earth, essentially raining down debris from orbit. Then they'd potentially look at coming on planet. And by that point, mankind has nothing left to work with.
Makes sense. Nicole, your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't have any more thoughts.
This is why she's here, to add that sort of magic to the radio show. Nicole Sakic, everybody. All right.
No, I start reading comments, and then I get distracted. And then I was like, why didn't I ask him if aliens, like breakfast for dinner?
Well, fair to do, but you got to understand what breakfast is. Breakfast itself is break fast. It is simply put the first meal of the day.
Thank you, Keith. It's not having breakfast for dinner, like some of these weird people out there.
No, I mean, from my standpoint, it's very simple. If it's not moving, it works.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. You can't be eating breakfast for dinner. That stuff will get you every time.
And we should all keep our favorite electronics in Faraday cages.
Oh, no, because Faraday cages wouldn't survive anyway.
So it's like a souped-up EMP that'll, bust through Faraday cages, too, and destroy everything.
Well, let me put it
electronic.
The Faraday cage of today, compared to their stuff, is like the abacus is compared to today's modern computer. The Faraday cage will not even slow down their pulse cannons. Won't even slow it down a fraction. The funny thing is, we got to realize that the technology that off-worlders use is so far above mankind, above modern tech, that mankind has not got a snowball's prayer of slowing it down.
All right, let's move on here. Let's go to the Revolution Radio chat room. Reg is asking, Keith, what do you do when you're on a craft? Also, do the aliens pick you up at your house, or how do you get on board?
Well, what I do depends entirely on what craft I'm on. And basically speaking, the one thing I don't do is I don't push buttons I'm not allowed to. They don't like that much. But I've gotten on board by either being taken directly out of my house or, most of the time it's done by matter relocation, aka what you would call a teleporter.
Nice.
I don't do much in the way of the astral tripping that most people talk about. In my case, most of it is physical. Which is why I suffer from potassium crashes on a regular basis.
All right, Gary the Spudger in the UK is asking, do aliens decorate their personal space inside their spacecraft?
Try that again?
Do aliens decorate their personal space inside craft? Do they put up wallpaper, maybe some macrame?
That depends entirely on the race, but in many races, the answer is yes. They have as varied a personality as humans do. Some of their stuff is a little questionable in my eyes, but what the heck?
Playboy calendars, that kind of thing? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I was thinking more along the lines of bits and pieces of people they've killed. As in the mailbox.
Definitely not what I was thinking then.
Like predator trophies. Ooh.
No kidding. No kidding. All right. Next question comes from PBR asking from our YouTube chat, what should I do if an alien saucer landed in my backyard?
Well, from my standpoint, I'd go out and find out who. Well, the first thing I'd do is figure out which ship it was. Then I'd go out and figure out what they wanted. Of course, I'm twisted.
So's PBR.
Oh, okay.
With a little with a little spritz of lemon on the side.
I'd crank some feel-good, vibrating music and go out and say hello.
Yes, you're definitely going to bring out the free bird from Lynyrd Skynyrd. That's for sure. I could totally see you doing that.
I have good luck with Dave Matthews. I don't know. I might just have to stick with Dave Matthews or.
Well, the problem is aliens like good music. No wonder you're getting bad contact.
Really, I'm getting wonderful contact, and I'm going through musicians who are experiencers. That's kind of the music that I'm playing around with right now. So,
Sammy
honestly,
Hagar.
Since Post Malone announced on the Seth Rogen Experience show that he's had a number of sightings, I'm going to try playing Post Malone next.
Well, it probably worked better than Dave Matthews. I mean, God, the aliens are going to fly the other way. The minute they hear Dave Matthews, they're flying the other way. They're like, this place is boring. Let's go find all the beige paint we can and paint every wall.
No, come on.
Yeah.
We're not talking beige paint.
Dave Matthews Band, every song sounds the same. Every song sounds the same. I even think that they have 80% of the same lyrics in each song.
Nay.
We can argue that one all night long. The ET Connection continues here on Spaced Out Radio. We got about 7 minutes left before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Jeffrey is asking, what do animals look like on other planets, Keith?
Well, if you go to the Moldakian home planet, just to give you an idea of what a Moldak is, watch the movie Predator, and you're looking at an absolutely perfect rendition of a Moldak. Okay, and many of their animals have that elongated jawline, or the expanding jawline. By the way, so do many of their plants. Like, I mean, if you think Venus flytraps on Earth are funny to watch, you should watch their version, because it'll take a Moldak off the ground. No, I mean, Moldaks are only 7 feet tall, sort of thing. So you got a plant that'll grab one of them off the ground.
All right, let's move on. I love this question by Corrance, who is asking, he goes, do aliens make sausages? If so, what do they make them out of? Do they make human-type food?
Some of them do, especially if they're ones that normally pick people up and keep around for a while. See, fortunately, when I end up on ship, they end up offering a wide array of stuff that is, shall we say, palatable to humans.
Palatable. Nice usage of word.
I thought so. Yeah.
Tell me, I'm very interested in this because of my day job. So tell me a little bit about this food, because I just, I think of eating in outer space, and I think of Tang and food in pouches. Like our astronauts.
They're much happier with. I mean, it depends on where you are, but if you're actually on a consortium ship, a lot of their food is quite normal. They do have replicators for long excursions, but on the motherships, they've actually got full. What's the word I'm looking for? Full greenhouses, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I've heard of garden ships and
there we go.
Ships, plant medicine healing ships, and yeah. And I mean, I think of all the chefs that Star Trek has had.
And the funny thing is, Gene was on the money with a lot of it. The only thing Gene Roddenberry did that was a little quirky was when he came out with the Vulcans. Vulcans are real, but they are not pointy-eared, green-blooded people. Vulcans are a crystalline race from inside inside our solar system.
That gives me some hope.
Pardon?
I said that gives me some hope. I'm a big fan of the Vulcans, I think. But I think it's pretty obvious that Gene Roddenberry, along with some other sci-fi writers, are in the field. I guess you could say they pick up on these things that they can express artistically.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry, Steven Spielberg. I forget who it was that, and Dave probably remembers this, or you might, but whoever it was that put out X-Files. These are people that, and of course Lucas, are people that absolutely have an inside track on some of these races.
Definitely wasn't the Dave Matthews Band. Still trying to find that palatable.
I'm of no help there. I have no idea who the guy is, other than apparently he's an artist.
Oh, he's terrible. He's terrible.
If you're listening, Dave Matthews, I've been to so many concerts I can't even remember. I'm a lifelong fan.
Yes. She's also wearing beige pants with a beige shirt. Oh, yeah. Favorite color. Anyways, moving on here. Greco wants to know, do aliens eat cats like Alf from the TV show?
Well, no, they usually actually cook them. You know, Alf really wasn't fussy as to whether they were cooked. He just wanted them. Although the funny part there is he was based on another, and I haven't documented him yet, but Alf wasn't that far off the beaten track. As far as actual race goes, I mean. But see, Alf didn't care if they were cooked or not. Alf would just eat them anyway.
True. Darn Alf. All right.
Well,
we've got 1 minute here, and I got to agree with Game Vet here. Why haven't the aliens taken away my mother-in-law yet?
Because your mother-in-law hasn't annoyed them enough, or hasn't intrigued them enough. I mean, you got to remember, you don't like her. Why would they want her?
Ouch! Ouch! Wow! Wow! You went there.
Whoa! A shot heard round the universe.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I never said I was subtle.
Holy cow. Wow. Just punch the mother right there. Holy cow, Keith. That was huge. I don't even know how to respond to that.
I'm glad I don't have a mother-in-law.
Oh, man. My former mother-in-law is still pissed off a house landed on her sister. Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
No. Evil woman. Evil woman.
Yeah, we like witches. We like witches.
No. This one hid behind her Bible. So, didn't like her. Didn't like her at all. I knew I was in trouble as we go to break. I will share this story. Some of you have heard it. I knew I was in trouble during my wedding when I was having my dance with my former mother-in-law when she whispered in my ear, "I'm going to be your worst nightmare." It turned out to be true. Spaced Out Radio continues with the ET Connection next on the Mighty SOR.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate you taking the time. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Now, if you want to check out our password, the Desert Clam sets a password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. What is it here tonight, Clamster? Tabloidees. Tabloidees is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce R Keith Andrews and the ET Connection. It happens the first week of every month because, well, we like it for this to happen. Keith is a good guy, comes in, talks some aliens, turns up the woo card for the month. It's always good to have him here, and we are joined by special guest Nicole Sakic as well. Welcome back, you two, and let's get right into the questions from the audience. And here we go. All right. First question out of the chute here. From Bee's Nest, do aliens, Keith, have a sex drive?
Yes. Some might be classified as hyper. But yeah, they absolutely do. It's what drives, I call it people, they're just different and built differently. But it's what drives them to procreate, is that fine little drive. Some of them more so than others. You know, and in answer to the question that comes up periodically at the same point, yeah, playing around with other races can be enjoyable, but the reality of it is, in many cases, it can be downright fatal.
Well, I don't want that to happen. Don't want that to happen at all. All right, do aliens smoke cigarettes or vape from the spudger?
Their version of it. I mean, some of the ones that are on this planet certainly have tried it, I have no doubt. But is it, if you will, one of those social things that mankind uses? No, not on the whole.
All right, let's move on here. Nikki is asking, why would the Myran or Mayan race breed with humans and Sasquatch? Why would they also breed with humans and feline leopards?
Now, let's start with the obvious issue, from my standpoint, obvious. With humans, they were built the same way. With felines, that's called hybridization. They don't breed with them. Okay, same as the issue of Sasquatch. You don't breed, as a Mayan, you do not breed with a Sasquatch. This is just a fatal idea.
That would hurt.
Yeah,
saying.
but only until you were dead.
Okay.
You know?
All the way from Belgium, the lovely and talented Natalie. Hi, Natalie. Thank you for joining us. Is asking, can human hybrids activate more of their hybrid DNA and so activate other or different gifts within themselves?
Absolutely. By the way, so can standard human non-hybrids. These are things that people can learn to do.
Define
but
that.
The answer is absolutely they can do so.
Can you define that?
Well, it boils down to this. Every part in the corporeal brain can be accessed. It just takes a slightly different perspective, a slightly different focal point. You know, in other words, if you concentrate on it, it's like any other muscle. You know, if you don't use it, it atrophies. And sadly, most humans, hybrids or not, are taught to ignore their higher senses. Okay, when you start accessing them, you can learn to accelerate healing. You can learn to defeat disease on a whim. You know, you can learn to be able to tolerate different levels of things, such as different levels of heat, cold, acid, that sort of thing.
All right, Nicole, just for the record, I am getting ripped a new one in the chat room over saying right before the break that I don't like the Dave Matthews Band.
Yeah, that's good.
You know,
good crowd going on there. Everybody loves Dave Matthews.
These are people who also eat breakfast for dinner, so I can't trust them. I cannot trust them at all.
God.
People.
Follow the experiencers, Dave. They're in the music too.
You could wrap Dave Matthews up with Pearl Jam, wrap him up with Bruce Springsteen, Joni Mitchell, okay?
Well, at least you didn't wrap him up with H.P. Riot.
Horrible music. Terrible.
I know you'll add Coldplay to that list as well.
Throw some Coldplay in there. Just for a little dessert of the horrible music tray. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, Keith. Nikki is wondering, why would the feline race genetically breed with humans? You already answered that. You said they don't. Let's see here. Hyper sex drive from Nikki. Does that mean they are also aggressive sex partners with aliens? I think Nikki wants to be abducted by some of these aliens here.
Probably. He's hoping to get abducted by the Orions. Nice people, hyper aggressive, not from a violent standpoint. Like if you're asking, like, are they a violent race? No. You know, nymphomaniac, yeah, pretty much. But you know.
I can see that. All right, let's move on here on the ET Connection with R Keith Andrews. The Michael Leger is asking, Keith, do aliens really care about Earth and humans?
Absolutely. But not for the reason that he may be thinking. It's because, from an off-world standpoint, the current xenosociological evolution of the civilization is what's got their attention. It is not often that aliens get to see a race hit that point where they're either going to tear themselves completely apart or go spaceborne. Right. And that is the break point that mankind is at right now. So is it interesting to them? Absolutely.
Why do aliens smell funny?
You should see what they think of what humans smell like.
I wear a nice cologne, man. Obviously, it's not me.
You do realize that you wear cologne that you think smells nice because your olfactory senses have been trained to believe that smells nice. I mean, I know races where they think hydrogen chloride is an absolute beautiful smell. And if it isn't a high enough dosage, they think it's absolutely disgusting.
Okay, so back to aliens and Earth and the human race. You've said here numerous times before that, they're wanting us to succeed. They're wanting us to join them But yet here we are being the greatest reality TV show ever. We got everything. We got, politics. We got sex, drugs, rock and roll, NHL hockey in the middle of summer. We got a little bit of everything going on right now. Are they just like slapping themselves in the forehead saying these guys can't screw it up anymore?
Well, ultimately it boils down to, it is fascinating and it's a great reality show. But out of chaos comes order. And let's face it, mankind is one of the most chaotic races out there. See, most of the races that are in the consortium have already stabilized their thinking, so they're, for the most part, working in the same direction. Mankind, you don't get three people in the same crowd that are thinking the same way. But will it eventually get back to that point of being unified? Yes, absolutely. Assuming they don't kill each other first.
Okay. Manitoba Becky is asking, do aliens partake in narcotics or alcohol?
Yep. Or at least their version of it.
All right. We have a few people in our chat rooms tonight who would love to party with that, including Nicole.
Yeah, it depends on whether or not you're using your stuff or theirs.
Oh, who wouldn't want a little hit from some aliens, eh? Why not?
One of theirs.
One of theirs is likely to kill you. I know one race that literally will smoke dynamite.
Well, why not? Hey, if you're going to play hard.
That sounds pretty BADD to me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Me too.
Like I said, it depends on whether it's theirs or yours.
All right, just want to apologize to Jessica in the YouTube chat room who actually was listening to Coldplay today. Sorry for your ears that you hurt them today. Let's go back to the lovely and talented Natalie in Belgium who is asking, Keith, when you started remembering your contact, did you choose to then have conscious and physical contact, or did it just evolve that way and you went with it? And why?
Oh, well, number one, I didn't choose it. And number two, I just got used to it, was more to the point. But sadly, I found that many of the off-worlders treated me better than what the humans did. And yes, I realize that sounds pretty sour, but aside from the one race, the Talons, which I have never gotten along with well, but on the whole, it was a case of I just simply got used to the issue.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Devin is asking, can you describe a simple exercise to develop clairaudience?
Absolutely. All you have to do is literally sit in a room that's got a lot of people. Okay. But what you do is you listen for the one beside you and respond to what you feel they're thinking. Because what it boils down to, clairaudience, you're trying to hear something from away from you. So it's going to take more than one person. And what you do is when you're thinking about it, write down what you think you hear. Okay, that way you can check with the other person to find out whether or not what you were hearing was what they were looking at or what they were listening to. Because understand, clairaudience is literally hearing what's going on away from you. It is not hearing what they're thinking. But that's the easiest way to look at it. Clairvoyance is a lot easier to work with. Because you don't need verification. See, clairvoyance, you literally can take something and put it in a brown, get somebody to put something in a brown paper bag, seal the bag, like fold it over, and without touching the bag, reach out with your mind and write down everything you can think of about what's in the bag. When you reach that point, when you figure it out, when you figure you've got it all, open the bag and see what you were looking at. You know,
Makes sense.
and it's just a question of listening and then getting verification, and it's a pain in the neck because trying to get it quantified can be a problem.
Okay. Greco is asking, how is it that we smell so bad, but the aliens still love our women?
Well, it ain't just the women they're taking. And let us not forget, no matter what somebody smells like, they're still capable of genetic replication.
True. Space Without Distance is asking, are there any aliens that are actually dumber than humans?
Oh, Lord, yeah. Absolutely. There are some races, and now, of course, the reality is, if you're asking, are you going to find any on this planet? Not aliens. You will find ancient races that are dumber than fence posts. Okay. There is one dwarven race that, I kid you not, when we're talking dense, they are absolutely, they rank up there with the blondest of blonde jokes. You know, they will walk into a wall and not know they walked into the wall. All they run into is a problem of, I can't move forward anymore. How come? You know, humans are not the stupidest people I've run into. You know, I question that on occasion with a lot of them, but, you know, they really aren't as stupid. They have a phenomenal ability to do the completely most illogical thing possible and still come out on top, which is what concerns a lot of the off-worlders.
Makes sense. Prairie Fire is asking, do aliens traffic other alien races?
Yep. Also known as slave trading. Either that or Meals on Wheels. Take your pick.
That doesn't sound too sophisticated.
Not really, no. Slave trading is not a new thing, and mankind was not the first to develop it. But yeah, I mean, that's been going on quite literally for millions of universal flips. A universal flip, just to be clear, you know what the Big Bang Theory is. That's what I refer to as a flip because of the way that I see it happen. And slave trading has been going on for millions of those.
All right, let's move on here because we only got about 5.5 minutes left. Greco is asking, do aliens like Greek food, and would they like to spend some of that alien money at some place, namely his restaurant?
Don't be surprised if some of them already have. Hybrids are very adept at, and when I call it blending in, because most hybrids don't know they're hybrids, you know, it would not be a shock to find out that you've already had, you know, a hybrid in your shop.
Okay, Nikki wants to know, Keith, how many hybrid children do you have?
That I'm aware of? None. That has not been the path I went down.
How about you, Nikki? The silence is deafening. The silence is deafening.
Hybrid children. I have one son, but maybe he's a hybrid that I don't know about. as well as myself. If you can't tell, how do you find out?
Good question, Keith. How do you find out?
Well, some of the markers of hybridization are you'll have an immune system that is different. It'll either be extremely high or extremely low. You may have a dietary situation where your body dietary requirements are definitively different than most people's. Now, of course, these may be a case of being human. It's a problem. Okay. Right. There's no genetic test that I'm aware of that on Earth you can go and get tested. And even if there were one, I wouldn't recommend it. The reality is hybrids, if they know it all, it's usually a thought process. It's usually an awareness that tells them, not a test or not a simple issue. I mean, I can take my immune system and go, it's just about unstoppable if we ignore the idea of heart attacks.
You had said earlier that you kind of find out, like you would find out from your higher self, or they would interject at some point in time. I imagine you could find out if you took the time to find out. But when you start talking hybrid humans, I automatically think of like healing aspects, or where they maybe do take your DNA, and those are all very intermingled with a lot of experiencer stories that aren't necessarily abduction on the table type experiences. So they do kind of come in all forms.
Oh, they can come in all kinds of forms. The funny thing is the whole idea of distance healing, of what people in today's world call Reiki. That is something that mankind developed. That's not an off-world trait. That's something that the human race evolved.
Right. I was thinking more along the lines of like mind over matter type healing and aspects sort of like that. I mean, I've even heard experiencer stories where they donate their genetic material, as part of like an agreement, to where, it's not really like, hey, we're just doing some experiment on you. We're taking a little bit of you and a little bit of you, and here's something new. It's, an unfolding kind of pre-birth agreement, or maybe even like a tune-up scenario.
Well, and ironically, all of those things they're all variations or, options that do happen, including the idea of being born into this kind of life, being a choice before you're born.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We got to start tidying this thing up because it is that time to say goodnight, Keith. We got 30 seconds left. Let everybody know, once again, where they could get your books.
Easiest way is Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca, or check my YouTube channel at R Keith Andrews. And at the bottom of every one of my videos, I've got all the access information.
That is awesome. That is awesome. R Keith Andrews, thank you again for coming on for the ET Connection. We'll talk to you next month.
Absolutely, and thanks again for having me.
And Nicole Sakich, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you.
Anytime, Dave. Thank you very much.
You will be back on the air with us on the 21st of August when we do an all-women's UFO roundtable for the first time on this show.
It's going to be so exciting.
I know. Oh, my God. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio starts to head home right after this.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed speaking with you tonight with R Keith Andrews and Nicole Sakic. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and much more. Speaking of the news, oh yeah, it's that time. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and how the hell do you die like this? A former upstate New York mayor was killed and 2 others injured after a high-pressure food processor being tested for manufacturing guacamole exploded. 67-year-old Dr. Joseph Kapp, local businessman and former mayor of Rensselaer, New York, probably said that wrong, died at hospital after the explosion at Innovative Test Solutions, an engineering firm test laboratory. Schenectady, is that how you pronounce it? Schenectady? I always screw that one up. Fire Department Assistant Chief Don Marino says that the machine was at a high-pressure vessel. 2 other people were present, and they were injured, less seriously, though. Their names not being released. Scott Briotti, Innovative CEO and VP, told the newspapers and the media that Kapp was a client of the firm. He was the vice chairman of the board of trustees for Hudson Valley Community College in Troy, former mayor of the town during the 90s. He was also involved in research and innovation. Kapp and the other victims were at Innovative Test Solutions around 7 a.m. when the guacamole making machine decided that it had enough avocado and exploded. The blast damaged the facility. No fires or chemical spills, though. The local codes department and the Federal Occupational Safety and Health Administration were reportedly both notified about the incident. It is unclear at this time why the machinery experienced what has been described as a catastrophic failure during trial operational tests. Catastrophic failure? The dude is dead. He is dead by guacamole. You know how hard it is to die by guacamole? It's damn near impossible. Unless it's in a machine that blows up. As a true friend, a remarkable leader, and the longest-serving trustee on our board, Joe Kapp will be greatly missed by our community college. Dr. Roger Ramsamy says of the president of the Hudson Valley Community College, once a student at Hudson Valley, Joe gave back to the college immensely and served admirably as a trustee for 2 decades. With heavy hearts, we share our deepest sympathies with Joe's wife, Yolanta, and the entire Kapp family. That is sad. That is sad. Okay. But death by guacamole. All right. Could only happen in Germany. A nudist in Berlin got a little too close for comfort with a wild boar who decided to snatch his plastic bag, which had his laptop inside. The nude man, all of a sudden, and trust me, this is a guy who shouldn't be running, decided to give chase to the boar and her 2 piglets, much to the amusement of fellow sunbathers who saw his own boar hanging out. Adele Landauer, an actor, life coach. Isn't that what you do when you're unemployed? You're a life coach. You ever notice that? Everybody's a life coach. Now, I'm not saying they're always unemployed, but you get what I'm saying here. Okay, let's just have some fun with it. Nobody get offensive over that. Anyway, she took the photos of this bare-butted guy, chasing these pigs. Nature strikes back, she wrote, adding that the man laughed it all off. He gave it us all with not a stitch on, she reported. I then showed the photos to the man. He laughed soundly and authorized me to make them public. He was very focused. Ms. Landauer provided more details on her Instagram page, saying the incident was a good example of someone persevering to achieve their goal. She said there were many nude sunbathers at the spot where the wild boars appeared. While the man was bathing, she writes, the boar calmly ate a pizza and from his backpack and then was looking for dessert. They found the yellow bag, decided to rip it away, but the man who owned it realized it was the bag with his laptop, so he was very focused, trying to run behind the boars to get it back. The onlookers, instead of helping the guy out, they decided to laugh and cheer him on instead. Isn't that nice? All right. Guess what, though? He came back with the yellow bag. The wild boars were so scared by his animalistic behavior and his nudity that they dropped the bag. He wins, laptop safe, and as he walks by with a very tall posture, the crowd on hand clapped and congratulated him for his success. Hey, about a month and a half ago, we told you about this dude in Tanzania who picked up a couple of these rare gemstones, and instantly the man from poverty was worth $3.5 million. Well, guess what? He did it again. A small-scale miner made another record discovery at one of the world's rarest gemstones, hauling in a 14-pound stone valued at $2 million. Sananiu Laser became an overnight millionaire back in June after he sold 2 violet blue tanzanite gemstones, largest ever found in the country, weighing a total of 33 pounds for $3.4 million US. Laser announced that he would slaughter one of his 2,000 cows and have a big party and invest in the local community after finding the record 2 stones earlier this summer. Well, guess what? Karma paid him back for being a good dude and rebuilding his community. He says there's going to be another big party. I want to build a shopping mall and a school. I want to build this school near my home. There are many poor people around here who cannot afford to take their children to school. I am not educated, but I like things run in a professional way, so I would like my children to run the business professionally, he says, hitting another $2 million. By the way, this guy, 4 wives, 30 children. That's a lot of alimony in case they decide to leave him, by the way. While a party isn't on schedule this time around, he says that he is going to continue with the dream in using the money to build the school as well as now a health facility in the community. Oh, yes, this guy's going to do well with this. Tanzanite is said to be a gemstone found only in the northern region of the country. It's reportedly used to make ornaments, with its rarity defined by how clear or well-defined the color is. Tanzania President John Magufuli has ordered the military to build a wall surrounding a Minara mining site in 2017, believed to be the world's only source of tanzanite, with its supply estimated to be depleted within 20 years, a geologist said. Last year, Tanzania set up trading centers to allow artisanal miners like Laser to sell their gems and gold to the government. Many reportedly mine by hand without any affiliation to mining companies. Following this latest discovery, Laser encouraged other small-scale miners to work for the government. Selling to the government means there are no shortcuts, he says. They are transparent. Isn't that cool? And let's hope he continues to do the right thing for his community. A Wyoming sheriff deputy responded to an unusual loose animal call and ended up wrangling up a runaway emu. Yeah, Laramie County Sheriff's Office said Deputy Harley was dispatched to a neighborhood because there was an emu on the loose. Sheriff's Office said she was able to get a rope around this flightless bird and lead it back home. When you get into law enforcement, there's just no telling what you're going to see. Circumstances of the emu's escape were unclear. Palmerston, the British Foreign Office's famous feline, Chief Mouser, has announced his retirement to spend more time relaxing away from the limelight. A letter addressed to Sir Simon MacDonald, Permanent Undersecretary of the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, was posted to the Palmerston's official Twitter account to announce the cat's retirement from hunting mice at Foreign Office's headquarters in London. Palmerston, named after the two-time Prime Minister Viscount Palmerston, arrived at the office as a rescue in 2016 and quickly gained fame for catching mice and appearing in photos visiting diplomats. The cat previously made headlines for clashes with Larry, the cat charged with catching mice for Prime Minister at 10 Downing Street. The letter, written in the feline's perspective, said Palmerston is retiring to live with a family in the British countryside. Although I am ending my formal role here, I will always be an ambassador for the UK and the new Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. The letter reads, the Foreign Office praised Palmerston for his service in a Twitter post. We will all miss his miss him pawfully. Oh, see, this is where we get dumb, okay? Because we got to bring in these puns, and these official government writers think this is funny, but it's absolutely terrible. Here's the government tweet, and this person really should be fired. We'll all miss him pawfully, but wish him a perfect retirement. Come on. Why do we got to ruin such a good story with bad human punnage? Okay, probably a Dave Matthews Band listener. Probably listens to Coldplay, too. Medical staff members at a hospital in the Philippines found themselves dealing with an unusual non-medical emergency. A large lizard was on the loose. Yeah, at the hospital on Cebu Island, the staff and other workers were chasing after fleeing from a large monitor lizard that made its way into the facility. A security guard armed with a broom is seen in the footage attempting to chase the lizard out of the building. Witnesses said the lizard was not harmed in the chase and eventually made its way back outside. The Philippines is home to several different varieties of monitor lizards. It was unclear which type of lizard visited the hospital Friday. No word if it was wearing a mask. Cool story here. It only took 28 years for the homecoming king to finally marry his queen. Back in 1992, Gregory DeBeese and Janet Fenner were crowned homecoming king and queen of Montclair State University in Montclair, New Jersey. On August 1st, 2020, the couple were married in the same place of the football field where they were crowned almost 3 decades before. DeBeese and Fenner knew each other in college through Greek life, but never dated. Yeah, they told the website that during their college years, they were opposites. He was the player fraternity boy, and I was the goody-goody, Fenner says. Yeah, after they graduated, they parted ways. They both got married, had children, but in 2016, they both divorced. And DeBeese and Fenner didn't keep in touch, but last year they found themselves on the dating app Bumble. Fenner randomly swiped right on DeBeese without even recognizing him. DeBeese, however, recognized Fenner when he saw her profile. I was stunned in so many ways. She looked the same. I hadn't even thought of her in years. And there she was. It was unreal. He said he messaged her saying, "Is that you, Janet?" And that night they met for drinks. There was instant trust and warmth. We just sipped and slipped right into the conversation as if we were sitting in the school cafeteria. I did not want it to end. The couple decided to wait a year to get married, so their children, DeBeese has 5, Fenner with 2, could adjust. DeBeese proposed on April 5th after the two families had been separated for 2 weeks due to quarantine. On their wedding day last week, the chief of Montclair State's police officiated the wedding, and the school's mascot, Rocky the Red Hawk, was the ring bearer. The couple reportedly decided to postpone their honeymoon until after renovations on DeBeese's house, which will make room for Fenner and her 2 sons. That's kind of cool. Very kind of cool. And let's see here. Of course, Gail always has to throw in one of these Guinness World Records. I hate these things for the most part. I do. I'm not trying to be negative, but there's just way too many. Way too many. All right. TV host Al Roker enlisted the help of 69 chefs and sandwich enthusiasts to break a Guinness World Record for the most people in an online sandwich making relay. Really? We're wasting time on television for making sandwiches in a relay? Anyways, they called this thing, to make it even worse, they called this thing the Rokerthon. Okay? Yeah, 69 participants, including Jose Andres, Bobby Flay, Priya Krishna, Sandra Lee, Marcus Samuelson, Andrew Zimmern, Elena Besser, Matt Abdu. Each chef was required by Guinness to create a unique sandwich, and it had to be complete before the next participant began making their own sandwich. That mark was to beat 50 participants, according to Guinness adjudicator Michael Emprick. Today, you have achieved 69. It's a new Guinness World title. Big deal. Way to go, Al. You really hit the ratings mark there by making sandwiches. Finally, a Pakistani man has been fined 8 buffaloes and 8 gongs by a court on the Malaysian part of Borneo for insulting indigenous groups. The island is home to a kaleidoscope of tribes, and in the Malaysian part, special courts deal with indigenous laws and customs. Amir Ali Khan Nadaway was ordered to pay the unusual fine by a native court in Sabah State after he pleaded guilty to making insulting comments about indigenous groups back in May and June. Kota Marudu, district chief who presided over the case, said recordings of the 50-year-old businessman's comments had spread on social media, creating a lot of anger. We want to make this an example so other people don't do the same thing again. I want to appeal to society that if there are misunderstandings or arguments, don't mention another person's race. He did not reveal exactly what the Pakistani said. The businessman is a permanent resident of Malaysia. Bantine said Amir had 1 month to pay the fine or risk incurring a 4,000 ringgit or $940 fine or 16 months in jail or both. Buffaloes and gongs are traditionally viewed as valuable items in indigenous communities in Sabah, and so they can be used as a form of payment to settle grievances or even wedding dowries. Race is a sensitive issue in multi-ethnic Malaysia, and Sabah is one of its most diverse states with numerous indigenous groups. Borneo, shared between Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei, is home to vast swaths of jungle and numerous exotic species. 8 cattle, people. 8 buffalo. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. If aliens picked you up for a ride, where would you want to go? What would you want to see? One of our favorite veterans, Marty, states, I'd love to take a ride to that lounge in Star Wars where they serve cool drinks and have live music. Kind of like we used to do here on Earth before COVID-19 shut everything down. Graham, thank you for the clown, by the way, Marty. Graham, Proxima Centauri and its winter moons, 4.1 light years away, celestial north direction. Hey, let's head there. John wants to see a star nursery, get to just sit and watch stars being born. Goddess Michelle, I would want to eat French fries at their favorite drive-thru in the galaxy. That sounds awesome. Jules, every continent here and any bases here they may have. Science Bob, Mars, Europa, Enceladus, and Proxima Centauri, and every inhabited world near Zeta Reticuli. Nathan, the moon and the rings of Saturn. Canadian Joe, who loves his metal band Kiss. I'd like them to take me to Jendal. Hopefully this guy will be there. And he puts a gif of Ace Frehley. Ronnie, one of the other dimensions. Mark wants a tour of the galaxy. Bruce, the COVID-19 factory on Venus. I hate to laugh at that, but that one caught me off guard. Because I don't pre-read these. That one caught me off guard. David, if they pick me up, it would be because they want to hang out with me, so wherever. They would have to wait until it's beer o'clock, though. And of course, they are driving. Andrew, the furthest known inhabited planet, what a mind meld that would be. Morgan, the restaurant at the end of the universe. Hopefully it's a Taco Bell. Probably is a Taco Bell. Calm and Rational says, a wormhole? A Stargate? Show me how they got here. Most majorly tripping. I'd say Aurora Borealis, but like literally inside of it. And Kate states, how about the Bunny Ranch? Alien hookers. Oh my gosh. We are literally losing it here. Okay, continuing on. Bernadette, I want to see where they live. Tony, to the edge of the universe. Mark, a few thousand years into the future. Catherine, a parallel world. Sparkles, the moon. I really would like to know if there are beings on the moon, and do we have bases there too? I've read so many conflicting reports and heard people speak about bases on the moon. Sylvia, I'd love to fly low over Ireland and the Grand Canyon. Ashy, I'd like to see your gnome homeworld, Dave. Oh, that started a feud on Facebook. Melinda, a whole new world. That's what I want to see. Ron wants to go to Mars. Nicholas, I would ask if we can zip by Neptune because that's my favorite planet. But first we stop at the beer store so I can slug a beer in space. So Canadian of him. Preston, I want to see the Nordics and Pleiades homeworld. David, to infinity and beyond. Another Davy. Definitely not Uranus. Nikki, each one of my hybrid children and spending quality time with each of them and being allowed to remember all of it. Tim, Fort Knox, inside where the gold is. Aliens have ways, no excuses. Richard, I want to see what Gary McKinnon was talking about, the things that he discovered in hacking NASA and the Pentagon. Final word tonight goes to our lovely and talented Jessica. First, we go around the Earth just to see how round it is, probably pretty lumpy. And then we go far enough out to see how much trouble we could get into, but with enough time to make it home in time for breakfast. That's right, because breakfast happens in the morning, not at dinner time. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Day. Thank you to Captain Shirk for the news on the SOR Newswire, and to R Keith Andrews and Nicole Sackich for the ET Connection. We have Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone participating in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club at our website, and to all the snarkers and snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. The Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, guess what? We have room for them too. Have a great night. Good night.